There is a moment most people trust more than any password or privacy setting. The instant the screen goes black, the phone powers down. Silence at last. It feels final, like closing a door. But that feeling is misleading, not because your phone is secretly alive in some science fiction way, but because modern tracking no longer depends on whether a single device is switched on or off. It depends on systems, and systems don't sleep when you do. The idea that privacy returns the moment you power down a phone is comforting, but it belongs to an earlier technological era. Today's world is built on continuous connectivity, redundancy, and data persistence. Turning off one node does not collapse the network around it. It simply removes one signal from a much larger picture. What turning off really means. When you shut down a smartphone, you are not cutting power to every component inside it. You are instructing the operating system to stop user-level activity. Apps close, the display shuts off. To the user, the device appears inactive. But smartphones are layered machines, and not all layers operate under the same rules. Modern phones contain multiple processors dedicated to different tasks. Some manage cellular communication. Others handle encryption, payments, and authentication. These components are designed to prioritize stability, security, and recoverability. In many cases, they operate independently of the main operating system and are governed by firmware the user cannot inspect or modify. This does not mean phones are secretly transmitting your location while fully powered off. There is no credible public evidence of that happening at scale. What it does mean is that phones were never designed for absolute user control. They were designed to be reliable network devices first, personal objects second. Tracking without touching the phone. The unsettling truth is that your phone does not need to be active to place you within a system. Tracking today is less about live surveillance and more about correlation. Location patterns are built over time, where you sleep, where you work, how you move between them. Once those patterns exist, a temporary absence of data does not erase them. It simply creates a gap that can often be inferred. Even if a phone is completely powered off, the world continues to generate data around you. Cameras observe movement, payment systems log transactions, transit networks record entries and exits, vehicles are scanned, Wi-Fi networks note reconnections, Bluetooth beacons measure proximity. None of these systems require your phone to be on at that exact moment. Surveillance has become environmental. It does not follow you, it surrounds you. Governments and the architecture of observation. Surveillance is often imagined as governments actively monitoring individuals in real time, watching screens and listening to conversations. In reality, state-level monitoring operates in a far quieter and more systematic way. Modern intelligence systems focus less on what is said and more on the data surrounding it. Patterns of communication, timing, locations, and frequency matter more than the content itself. These signals reveal networks, influence, and irregular behavior without ever needing to read a message or hear a voice. The true strength of these systems lies not in observation, but in retention. Information gathered today can be revisited years later, once new technologies, political contexts, or investigative questions emerge. Surveillance infrastructure functions less like a live feed and more like a long-term archive. This is why digital silence feels fragile. Once information is collected, it doesn't disappear. It remains stored, waiting to be reinterpreted. Corporations know more than you think. Governments are only one part of the surveillance landscape. Corporations, in many cases, hold even more detailed insights into everyday human behavior. Smartphones are not just personal devices, they are commercial ecosystems. Location information powers targeted advertising. Usage patterns influence product development. Behavioral data helps predict movement, spending habits, and attention. Individually, these data points seem trivial. Together, they form deeply personal profiles. Even datasets labeled as anonymous can often be reconstructed when combined with other information. Human routines are highly distinctive, and a small number of location markers can be enough to identify someone with striking accuracy. Most of this collection is not driven by malicious intent. It is driven by efficiency and revenue. Yet when efficiency operates at massive scale, it becomes surveillance regardless of the original purpose. The illusion of going offline. When people realize how deeply connected the modern world has become, many try to vanish from it. They uninstall apps, switch to basic phones, or deliberately shrink their digital footprint. These steps can reduce exposure, but they don't make someone invisible. The reality is that modern society isn't built to function offline. Medical care creates records. Banks document every transaction. Jobs require verification. Travel demands identification. Cutting off one digital channel often forces heavier reliance on another. In some cases, absence itself becomes noticeable. Large datasets are designed to detect patterns, and gaps are patterns too. When activity suddenly stops, it doesn't blend into the background. It stands out. Silence can look unusual, and unusual behavior tends to draw attention. Privacy in the modern era isn't about disappearing completely. It's about controlling how much of your life is collected, how long it's kept, and how often it's reused. Surveillance as a side effect, not a plot. One of the biggest misconceptions about surveillance is the belief that it exists primarily because of hidden plots or coordinated agendas. In most cases, it doesn't. The systems that monitor modern life were largely created to solve practical problems. Networks stay connected because constant availability is expected. Information is recorded because companies need to charge customers accurately, fix errors, and improve performance. Sensors are installed because automated systems require continuous feedback to function safely. The shift happens after these systems are already in place. Tools built for convenience gradually gain new uses. Data collected for maintenance becomes valuable for analysis. Records meant for optimization turn into behavioral maps. Surveillance emerges not through conspiracy, but through accumulation. Capability expands simply because the infrastructure allows it. The system grows on its own inertia, without anyone needing to design a grand plan. Control without ownership. What unsettles people most about modern surveillance is not just its existence, but how little influence individuals have over it. You can approve or deny app permissions, yet the deeper software layers remain invisible. You can remove applications, but the networks carrying your data remain beyond inspection. You can shut down a device, but you cannot undo the patterns formed by years of recorded behavior. This imbalance creates a subtle strain. People are told to take responsibility for their privacy, yet they do not own the systems that define its limits. Awareness exists without real authority. The result is a feeling of concern paired with helplessness. Genuine control would require openness at the infrastructure level, where data is processed and stored. That level, however, is where transparency is least commonly offered. What silence really means now. Silence no longer functions the way it once did. Disconnecting does not guarantee invisibility. Still, this does not mean privacy has vanished altogether. It means privacy has moved beyond individual switches and settings. It has become a shared concern shaped by policy, oversight, and accountability. Protecting privacy now depends on how long data is kept, how narrowly it can be used, and whether systems can be examined rather than blindly trusted. The real danger is not the idea that devices secretly watch us when powered down. It is the belief that the situation is hopeless and unchangeable. These systems were created by human decisions, and human decisions can change them. If this made you look at your phone a little differently, that's the point. The systems shaping our lives aren't loud, and they aren't obvious. They work quietly, in the background, long before anyone notices. And the more you understand them, the harder they are to ignore. If you want more videos like this, like and subscribe, because this is only the beginning.